Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Terry.
And I'm Kate Tilleczek. I'm a professor in the Faculty of Education at York University, and I'm the Canada Research Chair in Youth, Education, and Global Good. And I'm the director of the Young Lives Research Lab at York University. So we really want to heartily welcome everyone to this session. It's been a real pleasure to have been invited to speak to you at this 2025 European Conference of Tropical Medicine and international health. So I'll just say a few words about the program of research, and then Mark will tell you what it is you're about to see and how it came to be developed and created. So at the Young Lives Research Lab at York University in Toronto, Canada, we're dedicated to making spaces for young people and their communities to examine how they live well now amid social, ecological, and technological challenges that they face. So we make a space for that. We work in many places around the world, and we work towards co-production of the research and the findings with young people. And one of our recent projects was called the Partnership for Youth and Planetary Wellbeing, that was conducted in Chile, Belize, Canada, and Costa Rica. And in that project, in order for the young people to tell the story, we enfolded Mark's Planetary Health Film Lab into the process of it. So obviously, we're thrilled to collaborate with Dr. Mark Terry, an award-winning filmmaker, the director of the Planetary Health Film Lab, and the Youth Climate Report. And I'll hand it over to Mark now so he can better describe and explain what it is you're about to see and how it came to be.
Well, thank you, Kate. Thanks very much. And hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having us at your conference and giving us the opportunity to share some of the films and the work that we do at York University here in Canada. The Planetary Health Film Lab began in 2019, and the idea of it was to take our expertise to remote parts of the world and work with indigenous communities to teach them how to tell stories in their own way about climate issues and planetary health issues in general that affect their communities. And what we've been able to do is we covered a lot of ground actually. We've been to Costa Rica, we've been to Ecuador, we've been to the circumpolar Arctic, and Belize, of course, and even Ghana in Africa. And what you're going to see today is a handful of films that we've selected from these projects. And you're going to see films from Ecuador first, followed by films from Belize, and then films from Ghana. And that gives a good representation, not only of storytelling from these indigenous communities, but also of the climate issues and the planetary health issues that affect those communities throughout the world. And the other great thing about the films that are produced in these research projects is they end up having a home with the United Nations. And that's through a project called the Youth Climate Report. Now, this is a UNFCCC project that stands for the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And every year that films are made by these young people, they get vetted by the UN, and those selected get to participate directly in the policy process of the COP conferences. Those are the UN climate summits that take place every year. So we're very thrilled to have the films that were made this year be presented at the Brazil conference. That's COP30 taking place in November. And you're getting a sneak preview of some of these films here today. Films made in the Planetary Health Film Lab are examples of community filmmaking. This is when a participatory approach is taken to ensure cultural accuracy and message consistency among a community. Basically, everybody involved within the community has a role to play in the filmmaking process. Now, when films are made in this style, they serve an additional role as a data delivery system for the UN policymakers. When added to the database of the Youth Climate Report, our young Indigenous filmmakers become citizen scientists, reporting on planetary health issues in parts of the world scientists and researchers seldom visit.
So please enjoy these films. And at the end, Mark and I will come back. We will provide to you the place where you can reach us, and feel free to reach out. I know that a question and answer will be open. The floor will be open. And sadly, we're not there to respond in real time, but we're always happy to hear from you, and we'll provide websites and contact information for you to reach out. Thank you very much.
Thanks again, and enjoy the films. Bye for now.
Traditional Maya dishes, organic and delicious, play an important part in the well-being of the Maya community. Instead of relying on stores, processed, and canned goods, the Maya people cultivate their own crops using fresh and naturally grown foods, gaining nourishment that's both delicious and good for the body.
Haawim ka nakawi malao, haan na mas travel joke ka.
Kuhan mas tento perkuhan ang makawiman, ang makakosh, saka kunit herero, tsin, piyak, osh. That is very important. Recall. Kuhan ay kanang kosh
Mayas would grow their crops on farms, but some would garden and cultivate basic crops like pepper, oregano, halalu, tomatoes, and more behind their homes.
Para koshik, yan naka-choke kaya, chiris laka kochoch, naka-tawri kaya, naka-kiras kaya.
Eating foods from the earth is like getting a direct gift from nature, filled with all the goodness and healthiness that a body truly needs.
Especially kama nakakun cabbage, kama jipi japa, kama ailu kalalu, fresh and sa farm. Ana atakakusho kana kawirip di khunshil khashe katone.
One of the most well-known food of the Mayans is the traditional caldo. The body receives nutrients from the caldo to maintain health and is cleansed by the organic grains that are added.
Aldis katsekachak, kaya biik, tingin na balem, kaya stew, kaya fish, alagel ka fish kuni.
Anli na oksiman li samat, li ansh, fish kuni li shkobam.
However, a modern trend of processed food has made its way into the Maya communities. These processed goods are often found to contain ingredients that can negatively affect the body. Regularly relying on processed food can therefore increase the risk of health problems for a person.
Kama tula ini, fertilize chochi oksa tula ini, na kire tula ini, shakyok akwaran, chabil mak ay bansa. Kung kamata ta lok se kama kene manah kian napal kwang mokap kwang fertilize kwang achkirun benen arauna moko ustarak choke kelo han chochi ketok kela o
Napal ikahal jo kachapom chik lao chik litok jogo chiki kawut poko lao chiki kasi nakahalakat sikem lao la akhrachoch kakanabak tsektanan kil laka tu amil na alem shikako chikish kauresin kil ugo shutana tanara nakhlao ka lanchi ili ka lao ka kush la ka mokoch ka kushi jishkoni li kala na kiri tiruli itsulta ali kwang sali ruchi choch abanan lao ara na palto lao na nakachik na ko shutana kish kush ba li komon uthan li tsakal la han di tsakal di kaurip sala ka tuam ara ot na lao na yani na kushuke li tsekemain chabi li tuam.
Maya food sovereignty is interconnected with their way of life and existence. Using the resources provided by nature, people could preserve their health, environment, and their holistic well-being.
in the Maya village of Nalumka, that is found in the jewel of Belize, where the biodiversity flourishes. Farming isn't just a way of life, it is the lifeblood of the community, connecting our traditions with the land we hold sacred.
Farming is so important. The Maya people depends on the farm, depends on farming, and that is the way our life is, and that is the way how we live.
Most of the Maya people are farmers, even though some of them are teacher, policemen, soldier, but they still do farming. You need to plant your own food that you eat because food at the market right now are very expensive, and canned goods are not healthy, so we need to eat fresh fruits or vegetables that come from our farm.
But now, because of climate change, the village is dealing with dying crops, drought, severe floods, and problems with the germination of crops, just to name a few. This has made things even more difficult for the Maya community, especially when it comes to their food and livelihoods.
Our Maya people used to their planting season, but nowadays we see that those seasons or those time that we used to is not there anymore. It's changed the rotation of our planting and even the harvesting. So that is the effect of the climate change.
One of the biggest challenges here was drought. A long dry season and affect the corn, the rice that's supposed to be harvested. But now corn is short. I know rice will be short. And then I know the price of food will be very high.
To survive, the Maya communities depend heavily on the land, forest, and its resources. It offers food, a source of fresh air, shelter, and a timeless connection that bonds their past, present, and future together.
Forests are very important. They're important to the animals, to people, to the air. Forest is the lungs of the earth. It cleans all the chemicals, the gases that we have in the environment. We don't use tractors, we don't use bulldozers to damage the soil and the air, causing air pollution. We basically use our stick to plant, and then we don't plant acres, like thousands of acres. We plant maybe like 1 and 2 just to sustain ourselves.
We as Mayas, we don't do large scale and we don't really destruct. I think we behind manages our resources very carefully. So if we go into the forest, we don't go and exploit it. We just get our whatever resources we need in the forest. We get it at a reasonable or sustainable harvest. We have a system that we follow, which is we call the forest use permit. That we are using, and then we have our people. If they want extract lumber now, we ask them to apply. So they apply, and then the leaders look at it, and then as long as there is no problem, then we grant them permit. Using the permit, they can harvest their lumber. Using that permit will help us protecting it so that we don't exploit it, we don't go over harvesting. My strong message is to let us protect our forests by educating one another. How do we go about using resources in the forest?
As the villagers unite to battle increasing effects of climate change, they realize that not only their survival, but the very essence of their existence depends on educating all generations about learning how to use the forest resources wisely. Remember, a healthy forest is a healthy people and a healthy community.
From the dawn of time, the Maya people have shared a unique relationship with the land. They take care of it, and in turn, the land takes care of them. Through their culturally chemical-free sustainable practices, farming nurtures the land, promoting biodiversity and long-term health of their flora and fauna.
Makunike usaring ta chakiban che eru kana ki kwanko cha kumushi like kahpi sakal ke eru a inkir sa shkala porque ma a chak pa ya sa tiam pa an awon el pin ke eru sari chak muko ha ta ha ban awon kwang chikana kon
kal hutsia kwang ken akhikus nauk an galak chikau ma ka benen khache ma ka يا نقائق دقيق al كوانك شتوش بتشي بس كاخ كان قسيس استمتع تخليك al پر شعبيلك al نائل porque ما كانت تجي تعاونك أهم نتوكين شتي بالان شكام سرق شت بيرنا أكتشي شرو شت أوك ألينكي شت توكي تجي بين هاي جيلو ميسو كوكلي شكري إجماع كاج مكوتا أسارة بنين سا ماس شعبيل شكري
But then, modern ideas started to come in. People thought chemicals would make farming even better. But it wasn't that simple. The fields changed, the forest lost their beauty, and the water got polluted. The villagers who used to be close because of their connections to the land started having health problems.
Kita an muku usta nakshat ko ochibanok kanah kwang nakishke utahab an kishkam pene kishkam to sa rokat naha barki ak nakabut ah jaka ha re pene iti biru nah banu na oksa ha nakeruk akar amasan it nakichala uila ko shat ko wichila ko chi shock balep sha sit jaka ke ta amsare ta useka it pene marah ut shat panok kawasa kikana pene chiruha chot ita pene tian nah kamsish metsewa chot.
Even though chemicals seemed like a good idea, some people started to worry. Sure, they could get more crops and faster, but is it worth it?
Nakusari habenen res kamsing kil lipachaya ut na teng alik al des kihik. Nakis teng abenen re ra inkil sing al ut humpa tahki na kesh kihik lik al ut na teng ahe maki chish kamsing kil li sang ashtib al kiliru na nakungko banok na kam sakal ashke chikawu kiru li choch
نكوش لالعين نكش كايلي بين نقيب بركونا قنا واحد تكوي عشان كايرو تكوي تقالشتي على ليلو مرخ ما شابيل تكويش أسارين كيلو من كا تكوي بيرو وانك نحان تقال مسكش أساري لكريستيان بيرو نكا تكوي نحكي قد يخيل نقلكش أساري هم بيننا عن para cok ke la enak kwang kan pi enak mari aran jo kata yam li kachel para kaba so ota ina hale he na kwang he chabir hana el pero kona kanal ti ba ma chabil takwi takal lena ka sekana kana kesh beneni rubel kakal.
The villagers have to make a tough choice. Realizing that the forest, land and water that plays a crucial role in their survival is hurting because of the chemicals they're now using. The quick benefits of chemicals in hindsight is not as important as the wisdom of their ancestors and the culturally sustainable practices passed down from generations.
Thatch houses serve as an indispensable cornerstone within the Maya community, fulfilling practical, social, and cultural needs. These traditional structures not only provide essential shelters but also weave together the threads of communal unity and cultural heritage among the Maya people's well-being. The forest acts as a natural hardware store, enabling the Maya community to get all the resources they need to construct these buildings.
Pap ich subul ya cortes le cabia yan chiltikali no San Jose. Ik pachabe beltona ka hok eso bishu pachi lo lekeba tabe human ke be kaman menahabe me yahabe katun ka ke cha hok so ya min chel bisha sikche shol tihera porque tihera na holak timetik no San Jose. Akayan ton waye no na holak tu sartik San Jose chen hadi hum pailika yan ton waye sik ak etela bes yan ulak pimiente ak hadabe awalak tu sarati tu shanili bishatio akteche ma topum erata kushtabula che pokuman baka kusha che tiena baka kushu.
Working together to build thatch houses holds great importance for the Maya people. When they join forces, they strengthen their community's unity and shared goals. This teamwork goes beyond just making homes. It also keeps their traditions alive and helps them learning important skills together. By building houses as a group, they share knowledge between generations and become more resilient as a community. This way, they can finish building houses faster and have more time for farming, art, and other important activities.
Belaka meteabe ti 6 to 7 anyo umuk awala kuwantarti ka chuyu tutsilabe. Meya hado 6 sapo pachil konti 10 tula baka usarte uwa kumbulo inobe. Pai be osh sempre osh man ka bukabe. Pai ka kini ka wa kunte chaka kushik 10 tula mos ba kushu katun plus tunti belaka chuyu abe 30 tu chukula vini ku katie perku tuni shabe belaka wa kunta na hum il chen ba wa kunte katuna aka pa ti put bula tutsu porque non chen voluntary worker lakmit ki bahil chen anak bahil lakti ko tiempo te ke wa kuntuk ini bikin baka wa kunte bila ka wa kunte pes buka yanuk ini te baka ka putu sil tu samalila be tu ospekino lo kucaya ka be ka kestun kochitun yore te baka chuyu tu nutu amena tiana chiashkin wakti menach marzo abril mayo umuk de ka muchika kino be te ka be yashkin tutsu chen walakti kek tika tutsu ko walakti ka putik yo katikula tiempo tu sabe importante katika so ti mam ti meheno porque ha ya bache pele kabe ma chulul che ti waku wantarte bona shan porque che olak tu sarte kinono ye tanto lik a che olak tu sarte ola ko tekuna tsuma de ti wadi ko mai pele kabe importante sa ho uknik ukato ukuchuku kaba utaka che yokol ti ka ko liktun ti ala de ko tunu metiklikati tu bai le kuchabe sahti kansi ko ti mam shanti ho ti mehen le kuchabe importante ko maskuno ma tuntubulu ka ti costumbre ti bobe.
Overall, Maya people teamwork in building thatch houses shows how coming together benefits everyone and keeps their culture thriving.
In Belize, our Maya communities live among forested lands. We have cared for the land for generations. Learning from it, we also realize that knowing our borders is important.
Jalan joko di sepanjang kil sepanjang nakangak di kasutam dari kunghong cik alepal di wakat ut nakanaw par tanume di kali dan nakanaw par nakonume kahong kal.
Selain saya jona jokin si charge ban kil kan helen ka rilbal in nakak elchube harubak ang helen.
With securing land ownership, our communities can improve our governance system.
Land boundary help us manage and improve current sustainable practices. Improve local governance like the forest customary use system and strengthening the extraction of forest produce. We can also strengthen the protection of our sacred and spiritual site and the protection of our natural resources for future generations.
Knowing the land boundaries can help us manage our resources better, allowing us to improve current sustainable strategies and practices for our children and children's children.
What we do right now will determine what will happen in the future. So what is important for me as a leader is to educate them.
Ownership, respecting limits, and working together makes our Maya community strong and united. That keeps our home safe now and for future generations.
Do not do excessive deforestation. We do not abuse our land. We need to know what we have and the importance of it. So those are very key when it comes to protecting and planting another tree. To every tree you cut, you plant 6, and in the future they would be the one to harvest these. So when it comes to what will they harvest out of what we're doing right now for their future, what their ancestors had fight for them. It's important for us to do our part. Let's secure our land, let's be educated, because this will only benefit us for our future generations to come.
Land tenure security is important for the survival of future generations because we are just borrowing from them. It ensures that we continue our traditions, ancestral connections.
The cultivation of cacao by Maya people is immemorial. They even use cacao beans as currency. Cacao is valuable to the indigenous Maya people's culture. We use it for medicinal, spiritual, religious, and special events.
When I think about cacao, I think it portrays my identity, not just as a Maya person, but as a Maya people. Cacao plays a big role in our culture. It is our traditional drink, so we drink cacao almost daily. It's our main drink, and we also make cacao paste. We make some handmade chocolate bars that we sell. So these are how we use cacao, and even up to this day.
Cacao acts as a source of nourishment for farmers and their families to enjoy every day, making it a vital part of their lives. But cacao farming also brings financial resources to the farmers and their communities. It helps them to earn a sustainable living, allowing them to thrive.
Cacao, it has brought opportunities like tourism. I began doing cacao farm tours for local and international tourists that come to visit my village and passing through southern Belize. It contributes sustainably to my family because we sell some of the beans.
Tento cacao como reca chena
Over the years, the indigenous Maya people continue to face the impact of climate change on their livelihoods and well-being due to the vulnerability of the cacao-based system, causing these farmers increasingly difficult times.
Siguro kutanga na hong takil kamat chema na hong habil cho sak takil sak hil cho hap arot Josh ko ala na hil ko na kutri ho sak hil ko na kutri ho habil
I believe for the past 5 years we as cacao farmers are experiencing some low production. It is much harder to cultivate cacao these days. We see some season, we get good production. Following season, you see it's less production. Our farm do get affected during the dry season, especially during a long dry season, because we lose a lot of trees. Some trees, they dry up. Similarly with a long rainy season, most of the flowers would dry up because of too much rain, too much moisture, and if you already have shade, it's definitely going to contribute to that. As a cacao farmer, definitely that is one source of income that will be lost. If we can't grow cacao anymore, that's definitely going to impact us as not just as a Maya person, but as a community, as a culture, because cacao has been a big part of our life and as our identity as Maya people.
Climate change is casting a shadow of uncertainty over the lives of cacao farmers. The unpredictable weather and shifting cultivation seasons are challenging their ability to cultivate crops, while the increased presence of pests, disease, and extreme weather events further threatens their livelihoods.
Mama llaqtapak uraniglla chirillakta koltakitipi sakirinmi Majipamba aylluyakta. Chaypika murukunata pukuchikuna shinallatak wiwakunata wiñachinkuna. Manuel chay llaqtapi murukunata pukuchik mashi willanmi. Aylluyaktapak ñawpa kawsayta yuyarishpa ashpawan shinallatak Pachamamawanka alli mashikuna shinami karka. Chashnallatak llaqta murukuna tiyachun yatanpaqkunami karka nishpa.
Kunan achka tiempo cambiarin mana seguro cosechapunzakunapish tamiasamunza ñawpa yayakunaka señalado punza cosechapuq tarpunapu ñawpa yayakunaka charirka punzata. Kunanka ima horapish tamianza ima horapish usyakanza mana seguro kan trabajaspapish kay llaqtapi trabajunapish mana confianzata charin. Clima achkata cambiarin. Chaymuntami asasakilla kawsanchik campopi trabajkunaka ñukunchik.
Pachakuna yachishpa shinallatak pachamapayashka kashkamantami ashpaka wakchirimushka. Kay llaqtakunapika ñukanchik hatun taytamamakuna tarpuna pacha shinallatak pallana pachataka hawallami riqsiqkuna karka. Pachamama wakchirimukpika tukuymi shuktak laya tukushka. Kunanka tarpushka murukunapi haya hambikunata churana tukushkamanta shinallatak Pachamama wakchirimushkamantaka Tarpuna ashpakunaka chingarimushkami. Chaymantapish murukunaka ñamana ñawpakuna shinachu pukun. Shinapish pukuchinapaqqa achkami vali, hatunapaqqa mana achkatachu pagankuna. Chayshinaka tarpuk mashikuna llakipi churan. Ashtawanpish wiwakunapish llakita pashkakunami pachamama, yakupish mapayamushkamanta. Ñawpakunaka kultakuchapi chay muyundikpi kawsak mashikunapaqqa charwakuna tiyak kashka. Chinapashkunanka charwakunaka tukurishkami mapa wirakunawan. Shinallatak antawakunapaq mapa kushnikunawan kuchamapayashka kashkamanta. Yachaysapa taripaq kaytami nin.
Tenemos un crecimiento de la temperatura global y eso es algo muy complicado en todos los sistemas humanos, especialmente en la agricultura. Va a generar cambios muy complejos y a los cuales nos tenemos que adaptar de alguna forma. Por lo tanto, las pequeñas comunidades necesitan ver las formas en que ya tenían ustedes tecnificación desde el tiempo antes de los incas. Realmente ya había una tecnificación. Hay que retomar esos saberes y también utilizar técnicas más modernas que no son tan costosas, pero que también permiten una producción continua o una producción mucho más estable de las diversas cosechas.
Ñukanchik pachaqa achka llaki tukunallami tiyakun. Kunanmi pachamamata kawsachinapaqqa allichishpa kallarina kanchik ñukanchik pallatak. Alli pachata charingapak shinallatak ashpakunapipish murukuna kawsaypak tiyachun.
Hace 10 años atrás, en mes de julio, no llovía. Más bien ahora tenemos esta intensidad de lluvia que ya justo en estos momentos, hace un rato ya llovió. No había tanto vehículos aquí dentro de la provincia o dentro. Ahora pues tenemos una intensidad de vehículos que están contaminando y se nota bastante este cambio climático que hoy por hoy no se sabe cuándo es invierno, cuándo es verano.
Muy buenos días a todos. Quiero empezar diciendo que no soy un experto en el área de climatología. Solo estoy compartiendo mi experiencia junto a los registros históricos de la región donde me encuentro ahora. Hoy es el 28 de junio de 2022 y estoy visitando a mi familia aquí en Estados Unidos, en la ciudad de Seattle, ubicada cerca al mar Pacífico y unos 3 horas de la frontera con Canadá. El día de ayer, el Servicio Meteorológico de la región declaró una alerta de calor excesivo hasta el domingo, donde las temperaturas superarán a los 30 grados y podrían llegar hasta 38 grados. Estas alertas son más frecuentes cada año. El año pasado hubo una ola de calor aquí que llegó a los 42 grados. Aquí es el registro histórico de esta región. Y se ve que desde el año 1979 el promedio de la temperatura en veranos va incrementando, pero el número de días de calor excesivo ha incrementado bastante. Bueno, esas han sido mis experiencias y ojalá que las temperaturas empiecen a bajar.
Dentro de las comunidades se podía observar de que antes, aproximadamente como 10 años, podíamos observar de que las cosechas también, las siembras también eran mejoradas. Pues en la actualidad se observa de que la producción también en la actualidad se ha ido acortando, ¿no? Pero aún así, las personas todavía siguen reviviendo, siguen reuniéndose, porque hay la necesidad de obtener lo que es el alimento.
la madre tierra es poderosa y no está aceptando que le quiten, ¿no?, lo que tiene su riqueza.
Ondispakpakta urkukunata katishpa, estrella hídrica del sur, shutiwan risishka, fierro urkuta Ecuador mamayaktapi tarinchi. Achka tawka wiwakunata, yurajkunata kawsachikmi.
El páramo es lindo, pero también es conflictivo. Existen muchos actores y muchos intereses, obviamente, y no siempre convergen, digamos, en acuerdos o en digámoslo así, en consensos, ¿no?
Kaypika ñukanchikpa allpa mamapa yawar yaku wacharimun. Kawsayta hukuchinmi, shinallata runakuna, yurakuna, wiwakuna, tukuy kawsaqkuna tiyachun yanapan.
En el campo es prácticamente nuestro futuro, y es una evidencia que nuestros taitas y nuestras mamás de ahí han comido, de ahí han vivido, de ahí nos han dado el estudio. Entonces, por lo tanto, yo creo que hay que valorar.
Urkumanda shamuq yakukuna, manñakunapi, sarun pachamanda llaqtakuna, pakta kawsayman.
Y nosotros sí queremos, queremos tener un líquido, ¿no?, vital, que es parte de nuestra vida, parte de nuestro cuerpo, inclusive necesitamos el agua para consumo humano, para la producción, para nuestros animalitos y para las plantas y para todo lo que se usa en la vida.
Sumawaka fierurkumanda hatarik runakunaka, alpa mamata sinchi pacha tukyachishpa surkukunata mana pachininmi. Kawsayta llakichikpi, pachamama kawsarina, pachakunata llakichikpi.
Digamos, por un lado, en resumen, activaría la resistencia de la gente, y por otro lado, claro, viene a agravar y a desarmonizar, digamos, la dinámica social, cultural y ambiental de las comunidades alrededor de Fierro Urco.
Pachamamapi tiyan kawsachikkunapa shamuq wawakunapa waqaychishpa, pachamamata kuyashpa, mushuk yuyakunata wiñachishpa, ñukanchikpa wawakunaman sumaq tiqsimuyuta qarashunmi.
Si nosotros estamos defendiendo el cerro sagrado de Fierro Urco, estamos defendiendo el agua. Y si estamos defendiendo el agua, estamos defendiendo la vida.
Tamia Guinés, Guaminga, Muyulema, Micani, Cachisawa, Iyuyacta, Guaranda, Kiti, Bolívar, Marca, Ecuador, Mama Yactamanta. Kai hatun hakaka hatulan nishkamikan. Kai pika kausan mi chican wiwakuna. Kausan mi fukungu, añas, kurikingi. Kurikingi ka kausan mi waranka yaji watakunatami kai pika kausashpa shamun. Shinayata kai pirrikuyu shanchikmi ñukanchika kachimurutami charinchik. Ñukanchik watakuna yallishkawanmi ña allichishkakunata mikushpa kawsanchik. Kay khatulan wakaka ñukanchik kay kachisawa kawsaq mashikunapaq tukuy ima unguy waqllikuna hapishka chaykunata shitaqpi kay hatun wakaka allichikmi kan.
Kaypika chakrakunata rurashpa tukuy murukunata tarpunchik. Kaypika chiri llaqta kan. Kaypika tarpunchik papata, tarpunchik cebadata, tarpunchik habasta, tarpunchik taurita, tarpunchik wakinpika morochota, tarpunchik shina chiri llaqtapika chiri murukunata tarpunchik, chikunata tarpushpa mikunchik. Ukatapish tarpunchik, millukuta tarpunchik, mashwata tarpunchik, wakinpika ña kungakunchik chay murukunata tarpunatapish. Kaypika ñawpamanta ñukanchik pushaqkunami kay Cachisawa ayllu llaqtataka wiñachishka. Ña shukkunaka ñawpashka. Tayta Virgilio Olongo, paymi kay Cachisawa comunidadtaka wiñachikarka. Shinallatak shuktaq pushaqkunapish tiyashka. Ñuka yayawapish chayraq kawsakun.
ñukanchik tarpushka, ñukanchik fukushka murukunawanka, ñukanchik kullki kamayta ayllukunawan ayllu llaqtakunapi sinchiyachishpa katingapak. Chaytami tukuykuna kari warmikuna ñukanchik ishta llaqtakunaman kachangapak munapanchik. Kawsachun ñukanchik llaqtakuna, ñukanchik runa kichwa shimi, kawsachun ñukanchik yuyaykuna, kawsachun punllanta ñukanchik kuytsa musukuna, wawakuna rimashpa katingapak punllanta, yachashpa katingapak, yachachishpa katingapak, shuktaq punllakuna shamuykunapak.
Yaku ñawaga shamukuga linsho hatiyaku. Chimuda rikanchi waykuda pundobi yakuda paso vueltungabu. Wawa pescadoanada hapin gashkamu rikanchi. Wawa pescado daiseshka shamunalla mirunga. Yakuga ishikuga kaybiga mikuna yaku hatiyaku rigna. Yakuga linsho shamusti awasushi shamukuga desperdicio. Mas tiyashkalla manda fábrica. Chimuda yakuda cuidachun churukshka. Chiriga chituiñuga takshingrishka imamuda kachangi nishichi desperdicio da. Shamushiga yaku algún rato tangspekshka. Chiawaturugu kutin shukta chushka shinaydi awatero yaku cuidachu. Chide shinaydi takushiwanchinchishka. Ña yachishiga ña rinchi ña waykata takushningu fábrica dueñuda. Imamuda shinapada kachishtiyapangi Río Grande imam churungi chimundi gente Jesús atash. Chimuda tomagunamu ringan. Bensinga fábrica tiyashaka chibi tiyashaka bensinga.
Como pachapika pesa nishka mityarin salasaka llaktapi paymi llakinayta ñukanchita kawsachin yana solo yakuta kachash chaymantami paykuna kacharin metales pesados, metales alcalinos, chaypimi tiyan plomo, cromo, zinc, calcio, cadmio, chaykunami wañuchin vidata.
Difícil mi yakuga, shamukuga kaymuga, na shamuyachu linsho kununga.
Kunan tiksimuyo alikaypika rikuchikrini imashinatak pachamama rupayka kinchukimanta tarpukunata shukman tikrachishka.
Tamiana punchapika tamian karian ñakuti rupay punchapika rupay punchan kunambika kunambika indijun ñakuti ashakashpaka ashakuta chanduspalla ñakuti ñapash tamianja muyushka cuenta kancha estacionkuna chullayashka na chayllapita shinallata kanakan.
Hay temperaturas extremas, más fuertes, más intensas que en otros tiempos, ¿no? Eso tiene un impacto sobre los cultivos. Y si es que no se cuenta con esa cantidad de precipitaciones, siempre va a haber una afectación. La planta finalmente puede ser que crezca, pero no va a llegar a un desarrollo comparable. Los terrenos van volviéndose infértiles, prácticamente se genera una erosión.
Chaymanta ni planta ukunta sara ukunta tarpungapapish na casi ushaypa cuenta kunanpika kanchik pero tarpuykutapish tarpunchik granokuta pampakuta trabajashpa pero lancha na saquiña chaykunata kanchika problemakunata charinchik porque ña ashtaka cambiarishka kan puntakunaka nashinachu karyan tarpuk ratukunapika tarpupipish sarakukunapash fukun karyan pero kunanpika ña na fukuykutaka fukushpapish pero juru hansi ukunalla fukushpa
Tiksimuyu rupakuymanta tarpuykunaka llakita yalihukpimi Naciones Unidas tandaripa mama llaqtapaq tandarikunapa shuktakunapaqpash llamkayta achkataq mutsuri shinami allpamama yachaymantapash tarpuy yachaymantapash yachaqkunawan llaqtamanta runakunaman yachachichun shinallataq paykunapaq pukuchikunata mirachichun shinapachami pachamamawan wanguriyta mana tukuchinachu.
Canchi cosita takurishka kaymanta na cosechar canchi saragota yapas chingaywan yalita sarago canchi sina santisandi gota cosechar canchi chagrakunata narapas chuyu llapita chamiskaspa chuyu nacha tukun chuyuqa pero na llukshin pasarpika pankalla llukshin na phakun.
Causando primera vez para hace 30 años cuenta que chaypika kushnika tutandi punjandi nina kushnikuna yoshi hopi impactante karian amma chay mapa mundo narekta rico y ñuka paka yaki pacha karian Europa tikashpaka. Kunan kay pachapi kawsaypi kay momento kawsaypika kay tarpuykунapika unguy alita pacha llakichinachu por ejemplo pundaka tawka variedad papakunata charin kariachi y kay ñukanchi llaqtapi nishu kay agato urku kunapipas papataka tarpu karianchi fukuchin karianchi pero kunanpika ña papataka ña na tarpu ushan kay fábrica kuna factoría chay sisata tarpu chay yaki mapa chay contaminación chay químico kuna tukuy laduma afectan kankashka soberanía alimentaria nishkapaka kay lancha unguymi ninan hatu unguy kan.
y le sueltan polvo y el polvo se va todito al tanque de agua y está contaminado eso.
¿Qué podemos hacer? La manera más eficiente y barata de poder mitigar gases de efecto invernadero alrededor del mundo es plantando árboles. Y eso es lo que hacemos.
Yukanchi alpa mamama mangakutin, paipa kushihuiman, paipa yachayman, paipa karayman, tigraspa y chay tigraypika rikuspa yakutin randi ñukanchipas payman tigrachinata yanakanchi karaykunawan, kushi tarpuykunawan, punta natiaskamuyukunata piña chichispa, kirukunata tarpuspa, kutin ñukanchipan alpa mama chay huyayman tigranata yanakanchi.
So yala wan labla ona okon sana ta bonga te ya tarhena okon ma ha dara fara yala la nwe bosa yire awakana maka aton soha anwoka a week mon ma he dara bon hata man kan ewa yala kan dan ma yaga tum e ku bi daran for 50 years so plan lo dan 50 years no ga ma anan tran be me kan no cho silwe ga jamon is bonga korba kono ko ba man da kaman pera no mo do lo an ka ba tara tona man yakan no wata na aso ka ban ton yala kan tona yi ana bona yala an ven man pili kan hakala pe ana yala fu labla yana ka anya for instance ti yiringa to batale ja ebo ti yiringa to batale ja ebo ka dan ma nana adang mahala wala bang la babu bang kara so to mon kan bang ya ka ba hatuma sai kan yab latin na ana yan bent introduce ga wannan akama piara nan jam piara nan bu ka dai wala amma la bon hunga so to ne ya ka non kono buy into the idea to ba ha doubt kan ma ha da hara
yoni jai nan yoni jennan man ton dia of chu buli dar pie man mahan kajen wa boss man tuo aga kan wo tuo birai kajenya man tu gboge kajenya man late pore man wo lo ba kajenya man ti mbu adiu nyanka angangan sew adar to ma le tuo anyokana man die doga yam tor man paman muna nga yorangan man na ahupuo ma kon pama hoja awana jimare kamba peho kan wata pehanti diyan talalawa fili da kan wakan garan gari mana ganin ebaya ka tuwarala
tempilin cha kinan ka tiyin tempilin na no wana jata yana bayar proba an ma hadara an bunga na ya wala dara kalan ma halora ana iya bunga na ya wala anna ewa tunaman baha da ko a tira da kaman ko bubu hona ada mana bunga kelo ka tunu nga wala pampana tenga dana tana matara fanga na wakati na ba ya bunga
The cutting of trees, actually, when they cut the trees, it leads to heating of the environment. And then when the environment is so much heated, the temperatures become very high, which leads to climate change.
Dia alo de galo ebonga ka wata nan ka ga na mbunga ba bo recent man kan nan we kan sa wo man buara ka wa no telefon ka man to mala bana ba ha do kan man lo ya de tola bang pare ko man to ande ra ba ya tare he kenan kanya kino ki pile yala ebe ma njwanga pile bla inye yiri bi chem wo tuen kwanya ne mbera ananyam ve mo ga nyira asala no bangana mba nyi ba la halanta to tue plana sinkan to tumke te pe
asia oblan tina tanga hada tino nya tona kanga be oyun karno engani ka tampelon wole wolum akuti to kuraban la de chons pegre alo kumbala de jam pegre lo anen janna ye tona kuti awon yonwa na to mala
to yale yan try to yala kwa amtala kenan ka ya to fanga mo atende ra bonga kane men blantin pila na kane pila nga ka wo ka to try na era nga to no ale de ba jana mbamile na jon because te kan ban to nyera blana o da man nyeblo man lo daw aga nya to na ka ko waga ko ha ya bon bunga de no de nya bon fen nya daw eni na ke ma daw da kala cha bunga kaman piyala biela kana nya wotin nya machines ke da bunga anan tar tona ka so mo wen ka ban to ma na machine de nya na bon tonton bon hona ka man to ai ka ba to ba kaman de do he ai ra bunga bace ko dana laga kuna ga ma ya daw lo cha na wo ka pampan te yanga tan yanga biela tan yanga ya bana la gamba aga atuna na tumana
nyanka atotare tona akuti apako la halanta karwa malana anan tar tona te iranga ne kan tinna iranga ano yi tona kan akuti
are lacking a mindset of sustainability, and even in places where that mindset used to be baked into the culture, we are slowly losing that. And specifically for clothing, is things like not wanting to show up to events in something that you've worn before, needing a new shirt or a different color of the same thing for your next Instagram post and things like that. So you make the thing, you sell the thing, you use the thing, but we don't think about how we are going to dispose of that thing and how that disposal of the thing would affect the environment and affect ourselves as well.
Ghanaians have always been sustainable.
Polyester is basically plastic.
Because first, nanka bills and come the year, Juman, you see, no, a munyan in ucha, nekon, and koyi at the mammy.
Making clothes, buying clothes, wearing clothes is not necessarily a negative thing. It is the overconsumption and overproduction of clothing that is a problem, especially with the linear economy where the end life of the clothing is not really accounted for. So there are a lot of clothes made, there are a lot of clothes bought, worn, and not used for so long, and those clothes will end up in landfills, they would end up in our water bodies, they will end up in our beaches and pollute our soil and things like that.
I know that from Kantamanto, at least 15 million garments arrive at Kantamanto every week. Out of that 15 million, at least about 40 end up in our landfill. So we're talking about hundreds of millions of garments every year just ending up in our landfills. That's usually Kwale Lagoon, the ocean, Old Fadama, and that's just Accra. So it's hundreds of clothes every year, but those hundreds just stay in the landfills, and a new 100 comes the next year and 100 every year. Before you know it, we have millions and millions of garments just sitting in Accra with no purpose and nothing else, nowhere else to go.
I love the beach. I like to sit at the beach, but to sit at a beach that is littered with clothes, that's littered with plastic, is not very great for social life. Like, you can't hang around places. It's affecting ecosystems. So even if it's not affecting humans directly, we are only a part of the Earth's ecosystem. It's affecting the animals, it's affecting the plants. Fishermen go and fish and pull out clothes and plastic and a little bit of fish in their catch. So there's many aspects and many ways that it harms the environment.
So while we can easily throw away a cotton shirt and it will gradually decompose, return to the soil and be nutrients for plants, bacteria, etc., polyester doesn't do the same thing. It just stays in our landfills and accumulates, blocks our waterways, and just as it gets smaller and smaller, it doesn't decompose, but it breaks down into microfibers and microplastics, and those are really bad for the environment because not only do they just not go away, they act as vehicles for bacteria and other toxins like heavy metals, PFAS, etc., etc. So yeah, all in all, cotton is definitely the more sustainable option. But where we are, even in the fashion industry as a whole, cotton goes through so much processing that at the end of the day, it doesn't break down as fast as we would want it to. So it also does stay in the landfill. Even though it does decompose at some point, it does add to the accumulation that we have in our waterways, blocking things, killing animals, bringing down oxygen levels, etc., etc.
Me obi a mefa bills na mefa bills no so a dwumadie a medi ewo bills ni nyinaa ne say after say metwa bills na wie no na maton bills no me ton bills na ye wani bills ni bi wo mu a the rejected one no kwasem say ye de ye bibia ye de enye yie inside the rejected one na ya ase na ase ye kwakoto atwene no. And I'm saying, I've cycling in Intino, mental entry. Me fasa akunya no so as I create, and I say, Massa fasa akunya sat in the Yabri before for celebrate ya. Sa bills in an answer as Siena, uncle wist, and as young to any day entry. Intimidate be any case, intimidate be a straight dress, and not telling us to decide to be a skates, a year and my skates, and it be so skirt top and down, intimidate be.
I'm an upcycle designer, so I don't use new fabrics to make like my outfits or design my outfits. I use second-hand fabrics, so I use like second-hand bed sheets or second-hand shirts to make my stuff. And I also do tie dyeing. So this shirt I'm wearing, I don't know, it's very light because it's natural dye. I don't use chemicals to dye my fabrics or do my tie and dye. I use plants. And then yeah, plants like turmeric, onion peels, bisab, a lot. I'm still exploring different plants and then food elements. Yeah. First of all, I'm helping solve a situation because I'm not using like fresh like fabrics and materials and stuff. And also now I'm doing the natural dye. I don't use chemicals because chemicals, even just for me, the person using it, is like it's dangerous, it's harmful, and it's also harmful to the environment, and it consumes a lot of water. Like dyeing itself, because you know after you've dyed the thing, you have to wash and wash, and then the chemicals, you have to use so much water to do that.
The Off Foundation has about 3 departments working some way to keep clothing out of landfills. I work with the material research and development part of it, which is mostly mechanical innovation. So I'm shredding material, mixing them with binders and making boards out of it. The background behind me, the colored thing, those are all boards made from clothing material. But our community business incubator also does quite a bit of upcycling work as well. We usually buy the material from the market, from retailers, and that's important to us because waste is not free. We buy them and then we sort through them by color for my processes, and then we shred them if you're going to make fiberboard, or you upcycle them into whatever thing that you are making. It's easier to recycle plastic bottles that come almost as a homogeneous thing, like the material composition is one thing, maybe a few different colors, like a malt bottle is brown and then a Sprite bottle is green. But with clothing, you have a lot more variety. You have material mixes, you have cotton and nylon and polyester, and most of the times it's not even just full cotton or full nylon or full polyester. You have cotton and spandex. You need to find different ways to treat all of these different materials because they all have different physical properties. They come with dyes, they come with a variety of things, and it's also not like they're all a same type of garment. You have t-shirts, you have button-down shirts, you have denim, jeans, you have buttons and sequins and zips. For the upcycler, all of those buttons, zips, things, you have to take them out. And for me, who is also shredding, that is another thing. We actually have to sit down and cut each button off, remove zips if there are zips or anything like that.
We have this fabric called the asasawa. So let's say you have the wax print, you've made an outfit from it, the piece that remains, they don't throw it away. We weren't throwing them away. We keep them, so we have a lot of them. Then we put them together. We do the patchwork, which is called asasawa. Tailors from back then, from just you, me, our mothers have always been sustainable. Because if you realize, when they buy the wax print fabrics, and then let's say you make a style with it that is like short or the slit is too long, you hear them saying that, what's saying to mano? So we've always been sustainable.
So making of clothes and buying them aren't inherently wrong for the environment, but it really is the way we're going about it. First of all, we're buying too many clothes. So even if you're buying perfect clothes, the right make, everything, if you don't need them, you don't need them. And chances are you'll donate them. But we're making more clothes than we as a species need. And at some point, they're going to end up somewhere. Usually this is a lagoon in countries that can't really afford to fight against it. Second thing, we're not buying the right materials. Materials that, like we talk about all the time, don't really decompose in the environment the way pure cotton, pure wool would. You buy stuff like polyester, nylon. Even if you do everything right, at the end of the day, these clothes will have an end of their life cycle, and this end is not decomposition, it's not degradation into the environment. So it is going to pollute in one way or another. And the third thing is we're just buying clothes that are designed to have a short life cycle, 2-3 wears, and at the end of the day, you throw it away. So you could be doing everything right, but if the clothes don't last long and you don't try to mend them or upcycle them or anything like that, it is also going to end up in a landfill somewhere, no matter what you try to do.
If you have a dress, a shirt, trousers, whatever, don't keep it at the back of your closet. Go through it, cycle, use the thing. Repair it if it needs repair. We don't have Oyade going around the same way as before. That is part of the culture of sustainability I was talking about that I think needs to be brought back. But you still have your local tailor or something, or go to YouTube and learn how to sew your button back. So you pick the shirt, oh, this shirt, I don't want to wear it again because one button is gone. Fix that button. Another way is to use your voice to support causes that are into sustainability and that are pushing things forward. So for example, our organization Interact With messages, and just the support always helps to push for places and policies and people who can make a difference to make a difference. And the third thing is to work in the area of sustainability, like I'm doing right now. Work directly in that area. It can be volunteer work, it can be, your life's work, but also some way, somehow be involved in making the changes, making the corrections that need to happen for sustainability, but in the small ways. Use a napkin instead of paper towels, things like that. Yeah.
Recycle, upcycle, reuse, mend. Those are your best bets.
Well, welcome back. I really hope that you enjoyed those films, and please know that they're just a small number of films that Mark has pulled together over the many years. And if you're interested in learning more or collaborating with us, you can reach out to me at theyounglivesresearch.org, and Mark will tell you how to reach out to him through his Youth Climate Report and Planetary Health Film Lab.
Thanks, Kate. Yes, to reach us at the Youth Climate Report and also to see some more of the films that the talented young people we work with have produced, please visit the Youth Climate Report website at tiny.cc/UNFCCC. The address is right here. And thank you again. If you want to reach out to either Dr. Tilleczek or myself, our email addresses are in the program. So hopefully we'll collaborate sometime in the near future. Thanks again for joining us today.
Enjoy the conference.